How is everybody doing today on this Friday, April 17th? It's about 12:30. I am Evan, also known as Servers at Home, and this is the State of Self-Hosted. We're on week 35. I think I messed up a couple weeks ago, like with the naming, like we're supposed to be sequentially naming this. So if you see other ones that are like named the wrong thing, or maybe the other week I maybe had mistaked the number, we're technically on week 35. So how is everybody doing today? I'm hoping everybody is good. I've got some stories to tell y'all. Oh man, it's been a busy morning already, and I'll tell you why. There was a power outage here last night from like 2 to almost 6, and I have a UPS that basically goes for about an hour because it powers my entire rack. So yeah, that wasn't good. My whole rack went down around 3. I woke up while the power was still out, and within about 15 minutes of waking up, the power came back on. And at that point, I realized that my disaster recovery was not as solid as I thought it had been. So it's I've learned a lot this morning. My disaster recovery is actually pretty good, but there's a few things going on that I should probably show you, I think. Let me go ahead and open this up a little bit to show you maybe just a little bit of, we've done this before on the video. So I've got a couple servers here, and the very bottom one down here is TrueNAS, and the one above that is Proxmox. So you can see that's these two right here. And the way I've got it stacked right now is that Proxmox only has a single SSD in it. There's not any mirroring or anything, so all that redundancy is built into TrueNAS. So I just basically have Proxmox pointed at my TrueNAS server in terms of like, I have a TrueNAS LVM that's posted in there. So unfortunately, the way that works is when my rack came back online, because everything came back up, that wasn't the problem. The problem was Proxmox can boot way faster than TrueNAS can. So the NFS share from TrueNAS to Proxmox wasn't ready. So all the containers and VMs that had their hard drive stored on TrueNAS just totally failed. And I've got a few things on there that I am kind of dependent on. So even though the auto start for them was on, I had to do some kind of fancy. As soon as I went in and I manually started the containers like 10 or 15 minutes later, when I realized what was happening, the TrueNAS LVM was patched back into Proxmox, and it was able to start everything. But of course, if I wasn't here, maybe I didn't notice that, there would have been a large amount of problems. So yeah, long story short, use Uptime Kuma, because Uptime Kuma immediately let me know that there was something going on. That's when I started going in and investigating and doing a whole bunch of things. This is get bigger. There we go. It's way better. So that's when I started investigating and doing a whole bunch of things. So this UPS is a really nice UPS. It's an APC 1500 unit. Probably needs to be dusted. And that was good for about an hour, powering this entire rack. This rack has been upgraded a couple times since this picture was taken. And I'm going to get to some of that in a minute. Well, I'll transition there in a second, because I want to tell you guys about some stuff in terms of my networking journey. So this whole thing probably pulls... Let me check, actually. I can tell you guys, you want to see some fun stuff, because I have UniFi running. There we go. Let's do this. Let's do this. This is my UniFi. This is connected to my smart RT 1500 XL, obviously, and it's giving me all the information. So you see I'm pulling about 220 watts from the wall right now, and that's like literally to power everything. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus 6 is the router, 7 is that. There's like 7 things plugged into this right now. 2 main servers, some networking gear, and this cool little USB cloud thing, plus the printer, plus the Wi-Fi. And again, I've swapped that out. I'm going to show you guys that in a second. But yeah, so it's pulling a good chunk from the wall. My battery should be back up. It's back online at 100%. I've investigated. This is supposed to send me an alert when things happen, and I didn't get an alert today. I don't know why I didn't. This is like, all these alerts are active. Like, this is like on my list of things to do to figure out why I didn't get. Maybe I did get one, I just didn't notice it. I have to go back into my Godify and take a look, but it's running smooth now. But yeah, you can see I have like roughly a little less than an hour of runtime, give or take, when it goes down. I've never had a situation where the power's been offline long enough to the point where my UPS just died and we had to do some graceful shutdowns. So yeah, about that. Anyway, yeah. So I used a little bit of AI, and I'm going to talk about AI in this live stream as well, to basically make a little change to the way Proxmox comes up. So now Proxmox waits, it'll check like every 5 or 10 seconds for the NFS share from TrueNAS. And if it's not mounted, it'll wait about 5 minutes, and then it'll just start everything without it. But for the first 5 minutes or so, it'll keep checking for the NFS share before it starts to boot everything. So hopefully if this happens again, within 5 minutes or so of the power coming back on, my Proxmox should come up and everything that boots off of Proxmox should come up because the LVM from TrueNAS will be mounted. So yeah, that was a lot of technical stuff. I hope you all followed that, but if you're on this channel, you probably get at least some of what I'm talking about. So that was a fun thing this morning. A couple other things I found. I have Cloudflare DDNS updater. I have that running in Dockage, and that makes sure that my IP is updated on my Cloudflare in the event that my IP changes. Fun fact, when power goes out that long, I'm on Fios right now, so if you're in the United States, my Fios router, which is pictured here, is no longer here. I've replaced that with UniFi Gear, but I still need their what they call the ONT box. The ONT box is what converts the actual fiber that is like coming out of the ground near the side of my house into an Ethernet connection that I can plug into a router. So the ONT box, unfortunately, I should have taken a picture of this before the live stream so I could show you. These guys bolted it to the side of the house where it comes up, but I wouldn't have done that. What I would have had them do is run the fiber inside of my house and then terminate it in there instead of outside my house and mount that ONT box externally. That was a nightmare. Had I had Verizon come out here, I would have had them completely fix that, but I bought this house before they did that, so I mean, after they did that, so by the time I got here, it was already bolted into the side of my house. They drilled through the outside of my house into the living room and then put the power supply unit for that ONT box on the inside of the wall. So we have that covered right now by like a chair in my living room, but it's just this big ugly box that's literally bolted to the wall and goes completely through the wall and the insulation, everything right outside. And because it's there and not down here, this is where I would have put the ONT box for the termination. That ONT box is not powered by the UPS, so when it went down for so long, I lost my public IP that I had been on, and then I had to go in and change it in a few places. It worked in Cloudflare because the DDNS updater was able to catch that and updated it within a few minutes. I've got some things running on AWS, and that didn't go so well because I didn't have one of those for AWS. So one of the first things I launched this morning was this new really cool container I found that basically just takes like some AWS information from me and looks at my Route 53 and can update specific addresses that I set it to. So that worked. One other thing that didn't work, that's not going to work. Well, I'm going to get the two things. So the first thing that didn't work, I have a bot fight mode enabled on my Cloudflare, so to make sure bots and scrapers and AI can't get to any of my information, I have that automatically and on my Cloudflare. I don't know how much of that stuff I can show you guys because I'm nervous about like doxing myself or putting like my API key out there for Cloudflare. That'd be really, really bad. But long story short, I have that up and I have a specific bypass for my WAN IP, and because my WAN IP changed, all the uptime Kumas and a lot of the stuff that I have that identifies as bot traffic to Cloudflare was in fact blocked. So when I looked at my uptime Kuma, it was like, oh no, your stuff's still down. And I'm like, no, pretty sure it's not. Pretty sure it's up. So yeah, I tested all that stuff out and it was fine. So I'm going through and just making some changes there. Let's talk about some of the networking changes going on here. So this is a Gateway Light, and I'm going to kind of bring you guys on this journey through UniFi with me for a second before we get into some of the hard-hitting stuff. This was the first thing I got. You'll see it's about $129. I'm not seeing it a ton on UniFi Store anymore. I'm not so sure if they're still selling it. They might be. It looks like they are, obviously, because I can still add it to cart. So yeah, they're still selling this as $129. When John was trying to convince me to get UniFi because he was on all this UniFi stuff, and I was like, that looks so cool. I was so jealous. This thing went on sale for like $50 on Black Friday. So I did. I bought it I was on vacation right over Thanksgiving and I saw it go on sale and I literally bought it from my phone. It's the first thing I've ever bought from UniFi before. And I was so entranced by it. I love this little box. The challenge with this box is I wanted to do IPS, IDS, deep packet inspection and live streaming and a bunch of other stuff at the same time. And this is a really great little home router. But the problem is if you're trying to do all that stuff at the same time, it struggles to do it. So I had one option. I could have either turned off the IPS and the deep packet. IPS, by the way, is an intrusion prevention system. It basically protects you if anyone tries to get in. It's like a firewall, but on steroids, a little bit better than a firewall because this has a firewall and the firewall's fine. So I had the IPS on and the deep packet inspection on. So if I went live, I would either have to turn those things off temporarily, which is a super easy just flip of the switch, but I was like, I don't want to do that. Or I could choose not to live stream or do something different. Like it was too much for this box to handle with this 1 gig of memory. So what I ended up doing was I ended up upgrading to this guy. This is the Cloud Gateway Ultra. It's a little bit more hefty of a box, a little bit more switching on the back. It's not any faster as far as I can tell. I think, yeah, so the WAN goes to 2.5G, but I only have gigabit symmetrical. So yeah, it's not a huge deal, but this is a great little box. I love it a lot. This is a cool little thing on the front. So I've got this down there right now. So where's the, no, of course I closed the thing. Hold on a sec. Let me reopen my closed tab. Okay, so what I ended up doing was, you guys see this 48 port switch here? This guy is gone. So what I did for right now, and I'm going to send you guys a picture of this when I get it updated. I'm in the process of redoing the complete networking. What's going to happen is the very top row is going to be a patch panel. As you see, I've got these cables kind of just snake through here. Yeah, we're not doing that anymore because this is just a mess right now. So I'm going to do a patch panel on the front with some keystones. Maybe like a 20, like 18, 24, something like that. Just not a huge patch panel, but a patch panel here with keystones. Underneath that, I had my buddy 3D print me some stuff for this UniFi. So I have this, and I also have a little 8-port switch that uses power over Ethernet. So I have both of those units, and they're both going to be side by side where this existing switch is right now. So that's going to be the top of the rack. It's going to be this the patch panel, and then this 3D printed UniFi gear stuff. So that's going to sit there. We're going to be those little tiny loops, like you see these little loops right here, these little like 6 inchers. That's what it's going to look like from the top to the bottom. I moved everything down 1U, so this 10 gig switch on top is still here. I don't have any replacements yet. Yeah, I don't have any replacements yet for the 10 gig switch. I want to replace it with the UniFi one. The reason I haven't yet, as you'll see here, not the router, hold on, let's look at switching. So if I go to switching and I go to 10 gig, and then you sort this by cheapest, I need this guy, because 4 ports just isn't going to cut it for me. So this guy is an 8-port, all power over Ethernet. It's PoE++, as you can see. It's got this nice little 10 gig uplink. This is the switch I need, and you can see the price here is a lot. So I'm going to talk to you guys about how I'm working my way through that. But so long story short, here's what's going on. I'm selling this Gateway Light. I am now selling this. So if anyone wants this, just hit me up on Discord. I'm literally going to sell this for the price I got it for. I'm not going to sell it to you for $129. I'm going to sell it for the same $50 I got it for, plus whatever it cost me to ship to you guys. So I use pirate ship. It shouldn't cost more than $10. So I'd say expect to spend $60 for this thing. I used it for like 3 or 4 months. It's in perfect condition, and it's going to ship in the UniFi box that I got the other UniFi, the Gateway Ultra in, because I don't have the box for the UniFi Light the Gateway Light anymore. But if anyone wants this, just hit me up on Discord, and I'll start parsing everything out by the timestamp. So whoever talks to me first, if you guys are interested in that, that's on you. But it's sitting on my floor right now. I'm not doing anything with it. I'm not planning on doing anything with it. So that's kind of where I sit right there. It was necessary to do this, and you'll notice this live stream, as I look at the stream health, which should be fine, and it is. I was dropping live streams a lot. Like you guys probably noticed in the last live stream, like a month ago, was the last time I did this. It was cutting out pretty regularly. And again, that was the issue. The issue was the gateway was just kind of filling up and the memory was just buffering. So that was the problem. That should be totally fixed this time. If you guys have any issues and you see anything like when it comes to the stream buffering or skipping or getting the pinwheel of death, whatever it is, just let me know in the chat that's going on, because it shouldn't be a problem anymore. And now looking at the chat, I see you. It's Limitless for the paperless Nginx video. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I liked paperless a lot. That was, I don't use it a ton. I probably should use it more, but it was a great video. Kamo, yeah, dude, I wish I had all the Ethernet lighting stuff, dude. Like that is so, I love all the cool stuff that UniFi does. There's so many things where like I just drool. I'm like, one day I'll be one of those guys that like I applied to be a UniFi partner, right? So because I am a YouTuber, obviously I'm gonna hope maybe my like 24,000 like subscribers on this channel is enough to get them to notice me. So maybe one day I'll get really cool UniFi gear and I'll sell all my stuff to you guys super cheap, and stuff that I have right now. But as of right now, I am buying UniFi. I'll tell you what I did. I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit about well, I'll get that in a minute. Let me finish reading the chat stuff first. So yeah, I want to do that. The Discord marketplace. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. I actually thought about that because obviously r/homelab sales is a big deal. I do not want to start selling things on Discord. I'm going to make that very clear. If you are on my Discord right now, the Discord for servers at home, and you got gear to sell, please list it on r/homelab sales. do not list that stuff on Discord, because what I don't want to happen is somebody lists something, somebody else from the community that we're building buys it, they get ripped off, and now all of a sudden I don't want to be responsible for anybody that happening to anybody. So r/homelab sales is set up to do that. People already have reputations on there. I deal with that a lot. I buy a lot of things and sell a lot of things on r/homelab sales. The only reason I'm not doing that in this case is I want my community to have the first shot at it. If no one says they want this thing, I will list it on r/homelab sales, and the first person to just message me is going to get it. But I want you guys to be the first people to have the opportunity to buy gear directly from me. And if I sell anything, I'm always going to give it to this community first. So that's why I'm doing that. Please DM me. Do not put this in like the public channels. Because again, I do not want to create a marketplace inside the servers at home Discord where bad things can happen to good people. That's not what we're gonna do. So Kamo, I appreciate that, but we're not doing that. Anyway, it's limitless. You do live streams for professionally for nightclubs. I'm interested in that. I'm interested in that. It's pretty. I was just looking at UniFi's new announcement they made about like their new sync thing. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to find it. Like, let me see if I can go to UniFi, because they made an announcement. I got their email. I'm gonna see if it's on their homepage right now. Yeah, this new thing, right? They've got this new, not the design center. Where is it? It's on here somewhere, where they're basically talking about the fact they found a way to like, for like live concert events, because there's a delay. This thing, like, they have, maybe it's not this thing. This is the FedEx form. I got an email about it the other day. Long story short, it's basically about the fact that, and there's like small time delays from speakers, there's lag, there's millisecond delays. And if you're in like an environment where you're playing music, there's a problem with even just a few milliseconds of delay. It makes it sound really terrible. So UniFi's got this really cool way that it orchestrates the timers and the delay across all the nodes that it's connected to, so that when you're playing something like playing music, it sounds like it's coming out of all the speakers at the same time, and those small millisecond or microsecond delays don't cause this big problem in something like, you know, an entire forum where you're in a large building like a stadium or a concert and there's issues. So yeah, really cool stuff. Sorry, so just looking at the chat, I'm catching up with you guys now. That's why I have a quick pause there. All right, so yeah, so selling the Gateway Light. Gateway Ultra. I'm going to look at my show notes here for some other things. All right, so what I did, I was going to talk about AI a little bit. Let's talk about AI a little bit. We talk a lot about AI on this channel and about the dangers of vibe coding and things like Hunter, and that's a totally like understandable thing. I totally want everybody to understand that that's real. Vibe coding apps and putting them in the internet like they're safe is not something I'm ever going to be okay with. However, I will tell you that there are some things that I am okay with. Let me see here what I can do. Hold on one sec. I'm going to try and open up something in a separate window and then maybe drag it over here. Maybe this will work. Hold on. Let me see if it's going to do the thing. Hold on one second. There we go. All right, so let's talk about me getting UniFi gear and how I'm figuring out how to do this. So I've got two things going on right now that I think is really awesome that I did with AI. And this is exactly the kind of thing with AI that I recommend you do that isn't exposed to the whole world. So take something like this. This is a really easy web page that I'm using for MicroCenter. If anyone's not familiar with MicroCenter, I cannot wait to be someone like Jay's 2 cents, where like MicroCenter will sponsor me and I get to walk through the aisles and build computers for you guys. That would be freaking amazing. Right now, this is not sponsored by MicroCenter, just so you know. But if MicroCenter is listening, we'd love to be a partner. So what goes on here is I got that Ultra Cloud gateway that I upgraded my Gateway Light from for like $80. And the reason I got it for $80 instead of $130 plus shipping was because it was open box at MicroCenter, and I just happened to be checking while that open box item was available. Had I not been checking, I would have totally missed it. It just would have gone. So I was like, man, I bet you there's a ton of stuff on MicroCenter that I'm missing. And I would really like to know that, but I don't want to check the website every day, and they don't have like a notification thing. As far as I can tell, especially because MicroCenter is store by store, for my local store, there's no way for them to just email me when something new comes up. Like, oh, by the way, got this really cool open box item you might be interested in. That doesn't exist. So what I did was I used Claude Code, and I said, all right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to scrape the local MicroCenter like once or twice a day, right? I think I do it like 8 o'clock in the morning. And I want you to pull up everything in the refurbished, what am I looking at here? Refurbished, open box, and closeout sections, right? So look at those three areas specifically. And then I want you to build this really cool slider. So I have everything's categorized, obviously, too. So everything in MicroCenter has a category. I've basically set some default and selected a category for all the stuff that would make sense for me for what I do. Like, I don't really care about like cable and DSL modems, for example. Like that, I have FiOS, so like I'll never need anything in this category. So I just leave that unchecked. But everything that would be like useful to me, I've basically checked, and I can change these. So out of everything in MicroCenter right now, I have 49 default categories that I'm like basically looking at. And I've got this cool slider that says this defaulted at 20%. So what it's doing is it's pulling right now 1,727 items in MicroCenter that are either open box, closeout, and refurbished, but I don't want to sort through 1,700 things every day, right? So I'm like, okay, I need a way to filter this. So like right now, I'm sorting it by the newest first. This is the newest in the last, since the last scrape, which is like 24 hours or something. So as you can see, some stuff in here that's pretty cool. What I would actually really want to sort this by is the biggest discount percentage. So when I do that, it's going to give me what's massively discounted right now. So for example, if I had a 55-inch TV that I wanted to wall mount, this wall mount is now 96 cents. Now, what I'm not going to do is go and buy a bunch of stuff and then eBay it. I'm not that kind of dude. I'm not making that trip. It's about 30 minutes away for me to get to this MicroCenter, which isn't the end of the world, but like I'm really just interested in, is UniFi gear going to come up? So let's take a look at that. In my search, I can search, for example, UniFi, and it'll show me all the UniFi gear out there. So right now, this UniFi 7 Express Mesh is on sale for $143, down from $179. That's pretty cool. The Gateway Light that I'm selling for $50 right now is online for $103. So some other stuff in here. This is a pretty interesting thing. This AC HD with it's quoted at $349. I don't know if that's the original price, but it's on sale right now for $110. The U7 Pro, I've got a U7 Lite that I love. I got it for about $100. This one's on sale for $151. So there's some interesting things out here. This switches down. And let's also check Ubiquity, because the other thing that sometimes it comes up as is Ubiquity. I don't see a huge difference here. Oh yeah, no, this PoE adapter wasn't listed before. So anyway, you can see how this kind of works. And I made this using Claude Code. And the really cool thing about this is I can say, hey, right now it's showing me 557 items, right? So out of the 1,700 items that are listed, 557 meet the criteria of being greater than 20% off and in the categories that I listed. But I can say, hey, 20% is not enough. I'm really not making the trip unless I get something really deeply discounted. So let's jack this thing all the way up to 50%. Now you'll see my number switch to 216, which means that only 216 items are above 50% discount. And let me sort this by newest. And some of this stuff doesn't have pricing, so it's just going to come up without like the discount percentage. And a lot of these are laptops. And the reason for that is these are all like custom configured laptops. But like this one right here at 57% off. That's pretty cool. A lot of laptops right now pretty heavily discounted. But yeah, no, I built this site, and like this is just for me. This isn't exposed. I don't want anyone to get to this because yeah, I just don't. I don't know how safe it is, and that's why I just keep it right here on my box, and I'm the only one who can see it. This way I know even if there's any kind of issue with the code, it's not going to expose me in any way that's dangerous. All right, let's look at the chat. Limitless, is that Claude Code itself? I'm yet to use Claude Code. I've been using OpenCloud and Codex. Yeah, OpenCloud is the reason. No, so this is not Claude Code itself. So Claude Code built this. This is just a scraper that runs in like a virus. It's basically just a Python script and a web front end. That's all it is. It's not complicated, but it's too complicated for me to build. And even if it wasn't too complicated for me to build, I built this whole thing in like I think 30 minutes on Claude Code. 30 minutes to get it roughly look like what it is. It also does two other cool things I didn't mention. It sends me a go-to-find notification at about 7 a.m. every morning, and it sends me an email. So in some way, shape, or form, it sends me the notification with only the new stuff. So every single morning, I get an email that says, hey, here's some new items at your local MicroCenter that came up at, like in your category default at your at 20% or more discounted. So every single day I get notified just in case I need something. And I'm trying not to spend, this is terrible. I'm trying not to spend a lot of money, but like, yeah, this is a really cool thing that I was like, this is kind of amazing. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I really get excited about. So let's talk about, let me close this really fast. There we go. And let's come back out like this. All right. Let's talk a little bit more about AI, which again is where I'm going with this. I'm going to start doing more videos on like the thing you just saw, the MicroCenter scraper. There's something else I used today. Can I show you guys the screenshots? Let me see if I can show you some screenshots. So I'm going to show you what Claude Code actually looks like, Limitless, so you can understand like, my screenshots. This is going to be coming up in a video. So I've got some screenshots from today. Not that one. Not that one. I got to go back. Hold on a second. Let me make it bigger. All right. Let me see what's going on here. Here they are. All right, so this is my first one. All right, so I'm going to show you what Claude Code actually looks like. Here we go. So this is what it looked like on Proxmox. So again, I talked about the issue with my Proxmox server having containers that are running on my TrueNAS LVM. So this is the prompt, right? You're running, I gave it a quick little prompt, engineering. You're running on Proxmox using a TrueNAS server as remote storage. There was an extended power outage here. Proxmox boots up faster than TrueNAS. As such, the machines and containers I have failed to start because the storage was not ready. Check which machines are using the TrueNAS LVM, this is the NFS share, as their storage. So again, this is exactly what it looks like, and this is what it did. It found the LVM storage, and it found, 3 VMs and a bunch of LXCs, and I do most of my work in LXCs anyway. So this want me to check which ones are currently stopped. It's okay. By this time, I already started them back up, but I needed to have a solution. So I literally asked it, how would you build a solution to this problem? And it said the cleanest fix is the systemd one-shot unit that pulls the status of it until it reports, the NFS share reports as active, and then makes the service depend on it so that nothing will boot until this is essentially true. The trade-off is it delays all guest startup until TrueNAS is up, so you'd want a timeout that gives up after so many minutes and lets local guest boot anyway. That's exactly what I went with. This is literally exactly what I did. So let me see if I can pull up the next one. And again, this is going to be a video I'm going to actually post probably to Patreon next couple weeks or so. Maybe what is this, April? Probably the May video is going to talk about this in much more depth than I am right now. But this is basically what it wrote. So this is the code. And it's super simple. Like, this is exactly what it is. It's just a little service that goes on here. So basically, it just looks at the TrueNAS LVM. It pulls it every 5 seconds for 300 seconds. And it's going to continue to look and see if it's active. Well, if it's active, it's going to say active after so many seconds. And if it times out, it's going to say times out after so many seconds. And this is just the systemd little thing that it wrote. It's literally, what, 8 lines, 9 lines? It's not complicated. It's not anything crazy. But yeah, it works. And it's just a little bit, I can read all this, I understand what it's doing, but I probably couldn't write this without a lot. This would have taken me hours on Google to really figure out what I wanted to do and to make it work exactly the way it needs to. I think this whole conversation with Claude this morning, after I get everything up and running, took me about 5 minutes, maybe 4. So in like that period of time, I basically had something that's going to say, hey, for the first 5 minutes of the startup, make sure, check and see if the TrueNAS LVM, if the TrueNAS NFS share is online. If it's not, give up and just boot everything that's not on the LVM. And that's what it's going to do. So if this ever happens again, I should be a lot safer. But this is what it looks like to use Claude Code. It's not pretty, but it doesn't have to be. So there's a lot of things there that, yeah. So I want to talk more about doing things like that, because at this point, all we've been talking about is like, oh, how terrible Vibe-coded apps are and how unsafe it is to expose things to the internet. 100% it is. Yeah, it's absolutely super unsafe to do all those things. So yeah, that's something I don't want people to do. Ugh. So I'm going to tell you guys about something else that's going on right now. So I'm going to have to do this in real time. Let me check what's going on here. So we had a recent issue on the Matrix server, and I was going to get to this eventually. And let me see what's going on here. I'm going to read the mod log. Because I've set up some, I can't show you guys this in real time, so I'm going to kind of explain to you what I'm seeing. So I deployed a bot on the Matrix server, because we have Matrix going right now. So because we had an issue, this always happens, right? So I started, and I got, I just want to make sure. Stand by here. Yeah, of course. So I got hacked. I don't say hacked. A spammer jumped on the Matrix server a while ago. So yeah, Limitless, I'm going to get to your comment in a minute. So I have to unfortunately deal with this now and in real time. So that's the fun start. That's the fun part. Oh, good. So my bot is working. My bot is somewhat working. So anyway, there's a spammer that comes on. For some reason, there's a spammer that's been trying to come on and join my server, and he joins Matrix a lot. So I'm allowing people to sign up to my Matrix server through me. So when I was on a flight to a freaking funeral, guys. I was on my way to Texas to go to a funeral, and some guy about an hour after I took off started trying to spam the Matrix server. You guys might be hearing that right now. Let me go ahead and yeah, you guys might hear those little dee, dee, dee. Let me go ahead and mute this really fast. So there we go. You're not gonna hear that right now. So anyway, so this guy came on and he started making accounts like a lot. And started making a lot of accounts while I'm in the air. So I had terrible Wi-Fi on the Southwest flight from my place to Texas. At the same time, the spammer came on. It was making all sorts of like inappropriate usernames, posting inappropriate content to the Matrix server. So I'm there trying to fight the cyber attack, basically the spammer, with a couple moderators. And yeah, so Kama was on the thread right now. So Kama was one of the guys there. So him and Oscar 6. These guys are moderators for the Discord community, and they're also moderators on my Element server. And so, yep. So we're going. So obviously, so Kamo, you're here. Do me a favor, Kamo. While we're here, because I'm in the middle of doing this live stream too, just keep an eye on the Matrix right now, because I think everything is good. It looks like I'm seeing a whole bunch of people being banned, which is great. The funny thing about the bot is it tells me what was banned, so it's like, cool. Now you're telling me like, oh, so this person used a bad word, so he's banned. Here's the bad word he used. I'm like, oh, don't do that. So, like, obviously, maybe the bot can use a little bit more things like that. So that guy got banned, which is cool. The other cool thing about the bot is if he tries to join a bunch of times, there'll be a flood thing going on. And the server will all the rooms essentially be locked down until I open them back up again. So it's a trade-off, right, guys? Because like I allow people to register for Matrix through my server, and that's because I want people to be onboarded very easily. But at the same time, you get jerks out there, you get trolls who just want to completely spam good things, right? Trying to ruin a good thing. So Limitless, I see you talking about Matrix. So what is Matrix? Matrix is basically the free. It's gonna be the replacement for Discord. So. Let me look at what I have here. Do I have it up? Let me say chat.servers. I think this is it. Yeah. Okay. So this is how it works, right? So this is the Sable client. There we go. So this is basically how you get there. It's chat.servers at home, and you can use my server and you can create a login. You can register right now. So I have registration turned on right now, but depending on how the spammer goes, what I ended up having to do, because I didn't have a really good bot in place at the time for banning people, was I had to shut down registration temporarily to stop the spammer from coming in. But right now, if you click register, you can just make a username and password and jump right on. Right now, we are now filtering the usernames that people make, because if they make an inappropriate username, they get banned like right off the break. So anyway, so yeah, this is basically self-hosted Discord. The reason this whole thing started was because obviously Discord started to do more age verification. People were becoming uncomfortable, and I wanted to offer people a more private option. So Sable's the front end of Matrix. So I'm hosting this. So this is just really easy. I'm not going to log into the chat right now, but I just wanted to show you guys that and tell you that I'm dealing with this in real time as we're on this. So I'm going to go ahead and comment. Like I said, just keep an eye on that. If Oscar's not here, I don't know where Oscar's at. I'm looking at the join and leave log, and I don't see him coming back again. He was banned pretty quick. I'm hoping whoever the spammer is going to get the message. The other challenge with the spammer was he was on a rotating IP. So I was going to just basically ban his IP from ever making new accounts, but I noticed it just kept rotating. So I'm like, he's on a VPN, so I can't even ban the IP. So it has to be more server side. So I literally was planning on talking about this later in the thread, and it's funny that this happened like that because he literally spammed me while I'm live streaming. So I'm actually going to open up and the other thing I've been doing is I've been using Claude to monitor the situation. So I'm going to come back into my Matrix bot and my console. That Claude continue. So I'm just gonna have what I'm gonna do in the background, just so I keep this kind of off my radar, is I'm gonna run Claude in the background of my bot, because he is basically gonna take an overview of what's going on Matrix. I've connected him via API key as a bot to go in there, so he can keep an eye on things for me when I'm kind of just in the background. So if anything goes on with the bot, or if any kind of adjustments I need to make, that's a really good way that I can use something like Claude Code to kind of just monitor things. He's like, Claude Code in this case doesn't have the permission to really change much unless I give him explicit permission. But what he can do is be like, hey man, I'm seeing the spammer again. I'm seeing he's doing this. Like your bot is mitigating in this way, but maybe we're missing this thing. There's like, it's really good at just giving me like a little bit of an overview. Yeah. So Combo, I see there's no mod role for you. Hold on a sec. I thought I had that going. Let me go back in here for a second, Combo, and give you just a little bit of promotion, promote. Let's see if that works. Promote at there we go. All right, so Combo, check your matrix again. I just promoted you to moderator level. It looks like you're there. So just keep an eye on things. Again, I'm going to have Claude keep an eye on things in the because I don't want to be doing this in the live stream at the same time. It's so funny that I'm live streaming, and that's hilarious. Like that happens. This is exact. An hour after my flight takes off with spotty Wi-Fi, he attacks me, and then he attacks me again about a good hour and 45 minutes into my live stream. So yeah, go figure. When it rains, it pours. All right, so let me go back to my notes here. It's interesting that this is happening on Matrix because there hasn't been a ton of enthusiasm for the Matrix server. I haven't seen a ton of... Right now we have 32 members. Just not a lot of conversation there. I remember when Discord was like, hey, we're going to start age verifying, and the whole internet melted down. They're like, oh my god, age verification, this is terrible. This is going to ruin everything. And they're right. The internet's right. Age verification is a really, really bad thing. So yeah, that's not good. So I was like, oh man, I'm gonna do this really cool thing. I'm gonna do self-hosted Matrix, and everything's to be private, and then like 10 people joined and no one talks. I'm like, cool. So for everybody that was like, hey, like I'm so worried about the Discord age verification thing, like I didn't see the I didn't see the complete transition from that into the Matrix server. So yeah, no, we'll see. I don't know. I don't think it's the end of the world. I thought it was a little bit overblown in some way. But yeah, that's something that I wanted to keep a look at. So in the comments, Limitless asks, is Claude gonna monitor? You mean Claude Code? I mean Claude Code. So I can set Claude Code. I have a... Yeah, this is why we can't have nice things. I can set Claude Code to just kind of sit out there and just take a look at things and watch the traffic, watch all the conversations that's going on. So he's good right now. So I'm gonna say... I'm gonna give him this this prompt right now. I'm gonna say the spammer is back. Watch the server and make sure the bots are working properly. So, okay, so yeah, I'm literally just gonna give Claude Code that prompt, and he's hooked in with both the bots I have, the bot I made plus the bot I got from the internet, that is specifically built for things like this. So yeah, so we already found something. It said the offensive username check has a name error. The spammer is exploiting it. So it's looking at the code right now and checking all the other things. So yeah, no, it's going to go ahead and just check all these things. It's found a little bit of an error with some things, so it's going to go in there and check and do its thing. So I'm going to keep that kind of open in the background and let it just do its thing so I can get on with the live stream. And it's really funny that we're actually talking a little bit about AI right now, because if you haven't heard the news about this, I want to bring this up a little bit. Let's talk about Anthropic. As I've already talked about, I'm using Anthropic, which is the creator of Claude Code and Claude in general. They have this thing called Mythos out there. Mythos is their new model. It's like the new hot, and it's gonna be the better model than Opus. Opus is their top model right now, and they also have something called Mythos. So Mythos, in case you missed it, is like a really, really advanced AI right now. So it's supposed to be the most powerful model in the world. And they started using it because it's really good at cybersecurity, and they're like, hey, let's see if it could hack into stuff. So it like hacked OpenBSD, which is like the most secure operating system on earth, and it found a bunch of 0 days, and it continues to find ways to like string. One of the things it's really good at is like taking a whole bunch of low-level CVEs, like stuff that's like a 5 or 6, and it'll string them together and make like a 0 day out of it, like, which is scary. That's really crazy. So what they started doing is they started this thing called Project Glasswing. If you've never heard of this, they're basically giving Mythos is not available to people like me. It's not available to regular like civilians, anybody. It's available for like Fortune 500 companies. So the thing with Mythos is it's so dangerous that like we can't just give this to people, because like any script kiddie is going to go out there and just use Mythos to make a brand new 0 day out of nothing and then hack into anything they want. So it's too dangerous to get out there. So they started Project Glasswing, and this is just all this is code name for we gave Mythos to certain Fortune 500 companies. I think they listed them So there's a bunch of them right now. AWS, Broadcom, Cisco, Google, and Microsoft, NVIDIA, bunch of places like that. They're letting them use Mythos to basically red team themselves so that anything Mythos finds, they can patch before they're going to release eventually Mythos into the wild. It's like, I'll tell you, Mythos is like 80% solid and 20% hype. When I first read all about this and I did like a deep dive on it, here's all the companies. I was like, man, this is going to be crazy dangerous. Like, this is how Skynet happens. Like, for anyone that's not familiar with James Cameron's like Terminator series, like, this is how Skynet happens. This is it right here. We're living in it. I'm living in a movie right now. So I looked at that and then like, all right, I calmed down a little bit after I saw Wendell's video from Level 1 Techs. And I took a look at some things and I was like, it's not as bad as it seems, but it might be worse than it seems. So let me talk about why I say that. It's not as bad as it seems because, again, their Project Glasswings exists, and people are going to use this to patch themselves, hopefully, before things get worse. The reason that it might be worse than it seems is that they were able to replicate this result using other smaller models. So it's not like, oh my god, if you don't have Mythos, you'll never do this. No, they used the technique that Mythos used in other models that are open source and got similar results. So yeah, like, it's not just Mythos that can do this, it's the techniques, the ways that Mythos is using is going through this. And when they started replicating that techniques with other LLMs, it was working mostly the same way on other LLMs. So I was like, oh, that's also not good. So yeah, it's kind of scary, but AI is a thing. So like I said, I want to start doing a better job of covering and talking more about AI and talking about things like that, because it's kind of a thing. All right, so let's look at what Claude found in my bot. All right, so I'm just going back here. It found some stuff. So its ultimate status report was the bot was slightly broken. So my auto ban username wasn't fired. That's how he got on, because he tried to use a username that was inappropriate and he got on in the failed banned. So the bot came in and then it cleaned up behind them. Okay, so I'm going to ask it, is there anything I need to do to fix the bot? Just to make sure that what's going on here is going on here. Can I move this over? I'm like, I don't want to. Okay, so it says the display name error is patched, the container is rebuilt, and all modules are loaded. Autoban will fire the next spammer join. The only thing outstanding is the registration is still open, and that's fine. I'm going to leave this registration open. So I was... Yeah, so I'm going to go back to Sable really fast. Let me go back here. Somebody else just joined. So if somebody just joined from the live stream, just let me know that was you and not the spammer. So yeah, watch. I'm going to tell the bot, watch new joins for usernames which are not offensive, but use offensive words or spam-like behavior. So what I think might happen is he's eventually going to catch on that if he keeps using inappropriate usernames, he's going to keep getting banned. So I'm going to have the bot just look at everybody he's typing right now. So if this dude says anything out of the way. Yep, and he just tried something. Yep, so look at that. So it's the first thing he typed in the Sable client was immediately banned. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is what happened. He figured out that if he starts making usernames with inappropriate names, he's going to get bumped immediately. So he's making normal usernames, then trying to say bad things, and the bot is catching him and banning him immediately. So yay! Hold on, commo. So since someone tagged the bot and got banned, yeah, so I'm not sure if that's possible. So let me go ahead and just double check what's going on here. No. Recheck every 30 seconds. So I'm going to have this guy look just keep a close eye on it. So I'm just going to type the Q commands in there and just have it do the thing. Yeah. So it's just going to keep doing that. So I'm going to keep the background. I think this guy is definitely still active. He's trying to be active. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything of that stuff because, like, yeah. So Kamo, he said he tried to ban the bot. I can still see him in the admin stuff. So we'll just keep an eye on this. We'll keep an eye on this in the background. Somebody just asked me for, so in the chat, somebody just asked me for a C file tutorial. I gotta look into C file because we just did OpenCloud. OpenCloud did really, really well. I was surprised at how well that did, like really surprised. So let's look at YouTube real fast and we'll talk about what we're gonna do here. So let's look at, you know what? No. Servers. Maybe actually come up on the search now. It's cool. I like it. I like this is working out. So let's look at the videos here. So OpenCloud came up with this in 22 hours. They already did 10K. I couldn't believe that because the beta for TrueNAS 25 and 26 also did 10K. And so like this was, I'm really impressed with these last two videos. I knew the beta 25 versus 26 was going to do pretty well, but I did not expect OpenCloud to have the massive response that it did. Like this was a really, really strong response. Like you look at the top 10 videos that we do, like dude, the top 10 videos always do better than any other video on the channel. It's definitely one of like our formats that people obviously love. Like 16K views in 9 days. Dude, OpenCloud's been up for 22 hours and it's already at 10K. So I'm like, oh man, people really have a strong response to this. So I'm going to look at C file and I'm going to write that down on my list right now, actually, just see, because I think I looked at that before and it wasn't like, I'm not sure why I kind of passed on it. Let me see here. Did I do anything on C file yet? It must have been in one of these. Maybe it was in one of these things. I'm not sure why it's coming up on the search. But yeah, no, obviously, somebody, other funny story, by the way, we've got, oh my God, I don't know how many hundreds of videos. I think we have like 231 videos we have right now. So somebody asked me the other day about making a video on Firefly, which is like this self-hosted finance manager. And I was like, oh man, I got to do that one day. Turns out I made one. It was one of my first ever videos. So mind you, it was like 15 months ago. Like it was literally like video number 5. So I didn't remember, but I forgot that I had made a video and I went into Discord and then I replaced it. So yeah, I didn't replace it, but I told that guy on the thread that where he's asking the suggestion, hey, I actually did one and it's awful. Like if you guys want to see how old this is, just to be funny here, like let's go back. Let me see here. It's one of the first ones. That was you. Texas Rascal. Yeah, dude, this thing was ridiculous. Why is it not coming up? Maybe this is why you couldn't find it, because it was like finance. What I forget what I called it, man. This is probably why it's like super. I don't like it. But anyway, I found it. Let's go back to the videos here. Let me just scroll all the way down. I'm just gonna keep loading because if we're gonna go all the way back to the beginning, you're gonna see it. I must have titled it something weird, and that's why it's like not coming up, because it was back in the days that I had no idea what I was doing. I linked it in, what do you call it though? In the thing, in the Discord chat. So you'll see it there. It's one of these. Firefly 3. I don't know why. Oh, you know why? Because I spelled it wrong. I spelled it as Firefly. It's actually F-I-R-F-I-L-F-L-I-I-I, I think. But yeah, no, here it is. 1 year ago. It was really early. It was like, what, video like 20 maybe? I thought it was earlier than this. But yeah, anyway. So that's where that was. So Texas, I never know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing either, man. That's a whole thing. Somebody else in the chat asked for Pangolin plus Nginx proxy. Oh man, let me tell you about this. Like, dude, there's so many cool ways to do reverse proxying right now. Like, so Pangolin and then sending that to Nginx Proxy Manager. My question to you would be, why would you want to use Nginx Proxy if you have Pangolin in the first place? Because they both kind of do the same thing. So like that's when I see people stacking reverse proxies, I'm like, oh, first off, that's not easy, because if you have a problem, like it's gonna be really hard to like go down the chain and figure out what's going on here. Also, like when I see two things that almost do the same thing, I'm just like, why would you need two of those things? That's that kind of complication in networking is like, to me, that's kind of a nightmare. So I have Nginx running, but I only have Nginx running for things that I don't run through Cloudflare tunnels because I don't have Pangolin. However, I am doing NetBird now, so I'm now starting to transition away from Cloudflare tunnels in some cases for NetBird, because NetBird does reverse proxy now. In case you guys don't know that, we did a video on it. Let me pull that back up really fast. Reopen close tab. Come here. So we did the NetBird one. This is it right here, the NetBird reverse proxy. They launched this. It was crazy because, dude, they launched this without ever telling anybody, and I was just happened to be doing like common maintenance one day, and I was like, wait, services and custom domains, what's going on here? And I stumbled upon the fact that they quietly launched it for the cloud hosted, because it was available earlier for the self-hosted, but it wasn't available for the cloud hosted. And then they launched it on the cloud and didn't tell anybody for like a day or two. And I stumbled upon it and made a video like immediately I made a video on it. So kind of crazy. All right, let me go back and double check Claude here. He's keeping a look at, I have to keep a look at Claude. He's keeping an eye on Matrix right now. So yada, yada, yada. So right now the bot immunity needs my action. It runs independently of my word list protection, so I can redact the bot if it ever echoes a ticket title. Echoing, rate limit it. So hold on, it's telling me to run a command right now in one of my rooms, which I have to do just to be totally positive here. Stand by. So the spammer keeps trying to ban me and trying to ban other things. I don't think that's gonna work. He's getting clever with the way he's trying to. Oh, he named himself servers at home and then said a bad word and then got banned. This guy is definitely trying a lot of things, man. Whoever the spammer is like really trying to get really fancy by like creating usernames and like trying to do all kinds of ways to get into the server. And just, I don't know who this troll is, but like, bro, like, what is going on here with that? Like, why are you being so difficult? I almost want to know what's happening. Yep. So there you go. Dude just keeps getting banned all over the place. Okay, everything seems to be working. I'm just gonna leave that on its own. Let's get to the good stuff. We've been in this live stream now for I think about an hour. We're coming up upon the 1 hour mark. So we're gonna actually start talking about some of the fun stuff. I just want to point out one thing that made me feel like, I want you to know I don't go too crazy sometimes, but I danced around like Taylor Swift in one of her music videos when I saw this happen. I didn't realize this was happening. I'm on YouTube watching it just like you guys are, and I'm watching this channel, Awesome Open Source. This is one of the guys I subscribe to. I'm subscribed to a ton of other people in the space. I watch all the same YouTube channels you guys did. Before I was a YouTuber and doing this right now, I watched Techno Tim, I watched Linus, I watched Tom, I watched Network Chuck. Dude, I watch all the same people you do. Like, there's everything you guys do I was doing. I just went down this journey because I'm a masochist, I think. That's why, because I want YouTube to just beat me up every day. But I'm watching Awesome Open Source the other week, and it was really interesting because I'm watching this guy talk about the software he stopped using, and he listed TrueNAS. So I'm like, oh man, this is interesting. Why did this guy stop using TrueNAS? And he actually was like, I stopped. Long story short, he stopped using it. He said, man, it was a little bit of a learning curve, and I'm doing it other ways. I got other things going on. It was just a little bit too much at the time for me. But then he shouted out this channel. He was like, if you're interested in like seeing setup videos, there's this one guy like servers at home, and he does a lot of videos on that stuff. So go check him out. And I like almost fell out of my chair. I was like, somebody knows I exist. Somebody out there knows I'm alive. I couldn't believe that. I could not believe that. So I was like, man, this is really cool. So of course, what do? Another thing I use AI for is I have an AI dashboard that helps me manage the YouTube platform. So I have like a comment manager on there to make sure that I don't miss any of your comments. I have a social media generator. I have things that help me generate the descriptions for the videos that go up and pick like SEO titles and things like that. There's all kinds of things you do as a YouTuber just to make sure like you don't get buried by the algorithm. So I've got some AI that helps me do that because it's an AI that actually does all the scanning. So, you know, we just live in a world where we create stuff and like AIs just talk to AI and we're just here for the ride. That's basically what YouTube is. If you create content on YouTube, I want you to know what it is. Like, I create content that I think is really cool, and then I have to package it in a way that some AI, that the YouTube algorithm AI is gonna like. So because I'm a human and I don't know what that is, I have to use another AI to figure out how to anticipate their AI. So whatever I package it as actually shows up in somebody's feed sometime somewhere. That's literally how this works. For anyone that wants to know what it's like to create content. So yeah. Anyway, we got a shout out from Awesome Open Source. And I DM'd him on Discord. I said, thank you so much. I left him a comment in this video. I said, thank you so much for shouting us out. I didn't realize you even knew we were live, but super nice guy. And I just thought that was amazing. So I'm just going to like do a plug here. He's got a cool channel. Definitely check him out. I watch his videos regularly. They're good. Basically does the same thing I do, except he's got a ton more subscribers. So, you know, maybe one day we'll get there, but it was awesome. I was just like, this is really great. So anyway, that's the end of like my main story stuff. I'm going to start going over the newsletter now and talking about some of the news events that have come up in the last few weeks. We've got about 4 to go over. I realized the last time we streamed was March 20th. So I'm going to jump back to the self-hosted weekly on the 27th, go through some of the news, and I'm only going to highlight a handful of apps. I know before on these live streams, we were going like every single app. I would stop and click and look at everything. We're not going to do that. This is mainly going to be us looking at the news, and I'm going to pick and choose a few apps that I've seen that have kind of jumped out the page at me that I want to make sure you guys don't overlook. All right. So I'm going to just look at the chat really fast, see how you guys are doing. So yeah, so people started, you know, Kamo talked about waiting for NetBird. NetBird is good to go right now. It's very menu heavy, comma. Yeah, it's a little menu heavy. It's getting there, but yeah, it's totally cool. But anyway, so being Chrissy said I can NetBird plus Nextcloud because I feel my friends can connect more easily with Cloudflare, but it's safe. And then Combo said some apps don't give logins, but with NetBird you can link it with auth or use a PIN password. Yeah, you can do that. So obviously your Nextcloud should have auth in front of it. I don't even think you could turn that off. I think mandatorily you have to log in with the username and password. So my Nextcloud, when I have it on the internet, I don't have any auth in front of it. I use the Nextcloud auth, but NetBird does allow you to add another layer built in on top of that. And that's kind of important. I see so many people talking about like Pocket ID and Authy and Authentic. There's so many things out there that I see people using. And I'm like, man, every time I try and do a video on that or I do a deep dive to see how hard it is, it's a massive, massive headache. Like, dude, it is massive. So when I see things like NetBird automatically build in auth, like in front of the app, like it's not even something like, oh, NetBird has to go to my homelab and then it hits this auth portal and that forwards to this using this header. Like, oh my God, like don't get me wrong, I'm pretty good at this, but I'm not doing all that. Like I'm not. Like if something becomes a problem where I'm worried about hosting it and I need to put auth in front of it, I'll just put it on my NetBird on my basically my tailnet, my NetBird network. Oh, look at that. So I was talking about homelab sales before. Let's hold on one sec. So I forgot to mention something. I put a bot on here, right? So not on here, but homelab sales. So I'm looking for UniFi gear, right? So I have an N8N script that checks every 10 minutes for anything that mentions the word UniFi or Ubiquity, and this just came up. Let's just take a look. By the way, this is how I'm basically getting my UniFi gear. If you want to know what it's like, I am not Techno Tim. I wish I was Techno Tim and my rack was like super colorful and had like $25,000 or $30,000 worth of gear of UniFi stuff in it. I just showed you all my picture of the rack before. It's not fancy. Most of that stuff I got like off eBay. So this is exactly how I'm getting my UniFi stuff. So somebody launched this. I just want to see if there's anything on this that I want to like jump on, because if you don't know, if there's one thing you guys don't know about this. See this post that came up 1 minute ago? I guarantee someone's going to message this guy in a hot second. Like, this is not going to make it 5 minutes before someone gets a PM. So you got to be on top of things. So these UniFi switches, the U6 might be interesting. I have a U7 Lite right now. Let's take a look and see if this is what we're working with here. Okay, his stuff might be broken, maybe. Let me see here. I don't see anything else here, I think, that is really jumping off the page at me. But these prices are good. I'll tell you that. I'm really liking the prices. This is like Nanobeam, Gigabeam. So I'll tell you what I got, what I was looking for specifically with this. I was specifically looking for a UniFi travel router. If you've never heard of the UniFi travel router, it's awesome. So what it does is, and I know I'm totally going off topic right now. Oh, you're going to, so Being Christy says, I'm going to the UniFi Web Conference Tuesday in London. Yeah, they were, I know a couple of YouTubers that were talking about that. You can register online. I'm obviously United States. I will not be flying to London for that, but it's pretty cool. So right now, this is the problem. This router is like $80, and it's awesome. What it does is, if I'm on vacation, which I'm going to be in May, if I plug this into like the hotels, if I plug this into the hotel, I can use the hotel Wi-Fi, and it creates an extension. It basically creates an automatic full tunnel to my UniFi Cloud Gateway Ultra here, but it also reproduces my Wi-Fi. So say, for example, my Wi-Fi at home is like home Wi-Fi, right? It's not, but say it is. When I plug this into my hotel room, this is going to broadcast an SSID of home Wi-Fi, which is my home Wi-Fi. So my phone's not going to have to connect to the hotel's Wi-Fi or the hotel's network. This will connect to the hotel's network for me, bypass the captive portal, create a new local LAN or local Wi-Fi for my home Wi-Fi, and then full tunnel me back to my server. So all I have to do is plug this thing in, and then let it negotiate with the hotel's captive portal. And all of a sudden, I'm going to have my home network in my hotel room. And that includes all of my endpoints. So I don't have to like fire up my NetBird or get on my Tailscale or whatever VPN you're using to get back to my home lab, because it's going to feel like I'm connected at home. This thing is $79, and it's one of the coolest things they've ever invented. It's so, so cool. The problem is they're sold out everywhere. Everywhere. Oh, interesting. So it says YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. If you're experiencing buffering right now, let me know, because it's telling me I have a poor connection. Yeah, I see that. I can see that in my OBS too. It's definitely getting hit. I don't know what's going on. A lot of drop frames right now. Really interesting. Okay. We'll keep an eye on that right around the hour 7-minute mark. Looks like we're healthy again. So yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on that in the background. But let me know if, yeah. So there's a couple, so Being Christy said, doesn't GLNet have something like that? Yeah, there's a few people out here that have something similar like this, but because I've gone into UniFi, I'm now like pretty much in their ecosystem. Here's the deal. I hate Apple. I hate Apple. But UniFi is like the network version of Apple, and I'm like fully embracing it, so I definitely feel like a little bit of a hypocrite, because once you're in the UniFi like universe, you never want to buy anything that's not UniFi anymore, because it just doesn't talk that well to anything else. So anyway, it's a thing. So what I did was I have my N8N script looking at homelab r/homelab sales for anyone entering UniFi, Ubiquity, anything like that. And every 10 minutes, if it comes up, and I just got a notification when we're live streaming, so that's why I wanted to come in here and check this out. Let me see if this has even got a PM yet. I bet you in the time that we've been here. Nope, not yet. So if you guys are interested in any of this stuff, go ahead and check it out. But yeah, if you need cameras or anything like that, they have a security gateway in here, Gigabeam, etc., etc. So yeah, there's some stuff. I'm still OBS Studio is still telling me I'm dropping frames. I'm not sure why. Let me go up here really fast and see if I can diagnose that in real time. Stand by. All right, we'll take a look at that in the back. So it's gonna come back in here. So anyway, so I'm scraping this. So my UniFi travel router gets here today. So after I know this live stream, guess who's gonna have a lot of fun this afternoon? I'm super excited. But this is sold out everywhere, and I managed to my N8N script picked it up, right? So somebody listed one of these at like $85. It was some really nice guy. Actually, this came up twice. The first time it came up was when I was on the plane dealing with that stupid spammer, and because my Wi-Fi was terrible, I couldn't PM fast enough, and I missed it for $80. So I missed it at cost. Like a week later, it came up again at like 85 or 90, and some guy was like, listen, I paid like this much plus, I paid the $80 and I got it plus like $5 or $10 shipping. I'm gonna sell it for the same amount of money I got it for, and I snagged it up because I had my script running. So N8N totally saved me. I used Claude to help me build the code that actually did that, which is really cool. And that's how I got the travel router. So it's on the way. So it'll be here at some point today. Still dropping frames. Let me know if you guys get any buffering or anything like that, because I'm still getting lower than recommended. It's like YouTube is giving me just a slight warning here that there's something going on. So just let me know if you guys see any buffering, because like I said, I thought we had this problem fixed, but now I'm dropping frames. So we will see what's going on. Let me log. You know what I can do actually? No, I can't even log in. I want to show you guys at the dashboard, but the problem is if I log in like that and just take a look at what's going on in UniFi on this screen here, it's gonna totally like dox my private IP address, my LAN IP. And even though I've got like firewalls and stuff up, I still don't know how I feel about you guys knowing my IP address. That just makes me a little bit nervous. Let me go look at my UniFi devices. Let me look at my topology here. Let me see what's going on. My Cloud Gateway Ultra is a 27% CPU, 64% memory. No, it should be fine. So I don't know why it's doing its thing. I'm investigating that in the background. It's fine. As long as we don't have a ton more drops, I guess. Maybe we should be okay. Okay, so again, let's get to the news a little bit, because I want to. The reason we're here is to talk about Ethan Shawley's self-hosted newsletter. This is one of those things I also do every single Friday, probably like most of you. When he releases this, like first thing in the morning, like 7 or 8 a.m., it's like one of the first things I read. So this is where we're at. It's been about a month since I've gone over this. I'm going to look at a lot of new stuff. Let's start in the news. This is huge right now. If you guys don't know about the LibreOffice thing going on, there's a massive fight between like Nextcloud, LibreOffice, OpenOffice, and Collabra, which makes me super nervous because again, yeah, the spammer would have a heyday. Thanks, Kamo. I don't even want to think about that. Speaking of which, I don't see. I mean, I'm just checking Sable again one more time. I don't see anything going on here. Let me see here. Yeah, so Claude Code is running in the background like every minute or so, looking at that. He hasn't really come up with anything recently. It looks clean, and Sable looks clean. So it looks like whatever was going on is kind of calmed down. But again, I got this running 24/7, so hey, you know what? He can jump on in the middle of the night. It's not going to make a difference. So anyway, so again, releasing the video on OpenCloud, and then all this coming up right now is really interesting to me because, like, obviously people are responding very strongly to OpenCloud. Just your alter ego leaving channels. Yeah, thanks, Kamo. So with OpenCloud doing as well as it did, obviously there's a huge interest in cloud management and cloud computing and all kind of stuff. So if you don't know what's going on, basically OpenOffice has got some ties to Russia. Like the people that built OpenOffice, which is a massive open source like replacement for Microsoft Word and Microsoft Office, they have some. I think they're actually physically located in Russia. So they modified the GPL license, which is the public license that people can do all kinds of stuff under. And it was a problem because they were like, hey, somebody else, which in this case LibreOffice, was forking some stuff and other things were going on back and forth with open source code, and OpenOffice was not happy about it. LibreOffice was like, you can't just like close source open source software and then get mad that we use the open source software. It went back and forth, and then Collabra got pulled into this, and then because OpenOffice is integrated into Nextcloud, and Nextcloud got pulled into this. So now there's this like kerfuffle going on between, again, Nextcloud, OpenOffice, LibreOffice, and Collabra. So we're all watching this because like there's a strong chance OpenOffice is not going to work with Nextcloud in the future. So if you have OpenOffice or LibreOffice or Collabra, connected to your Nextcloud, which I do, I run Collabra, like I'm watching this situation because there's a possibility that like I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to lie. I'm not gonna, so just keep your eye on this in the news. I'm going to keep my eye on it, and if something comes up and as it continues to come up, I'll let you guys know if I can. But yeah, this is a month ago. This is the one from, like I said, from March. It's already mid-April, so nothing's been turned off yet, but just the thing. In case you don't know about the router ban, this is also major news. I'm sure everybody's heard about this. The crazier thing was, not only did the FCC say we're banning all foreign-made routers, read 100% of routers, because 100% of routers in the United States are made not in the United States. There are no commercially made routers that you would have in your home. The only people that actually physically manufacture routers in the United States make enterprise class things for like $5,000 plus. No one's using those routers. But like if my Fios router, for example, that I replaced with UniFi, my UniFi router, like if you use TP-Link, if you use Netgear, if you use Asus, there's so many things out. All those routers are made somewhere else that's not the United States. They are all now banned in the United States of America. Now, if you already have one, you're good. They're not going to come into your house and take it from you. But there's definitely some issue with getting them in the future, whereas they're not going to be able to import. So what the FCC did was like, hey, you need to pay money from now on if you're like Netgear or Asus or any of these people, or with TP-Link, to get this process where you're going to be like basically audited to see what's going on. And I think we can definitely use some tighter router security. I'm not mad about that, but them just like being like just a blanket ban on all routers, like that was a little heavy-handed. Oh, look at that. It looks like I just got a little spinning wheel of death. Again, guys, let me know if you guys see any buffering. Let me see what's going on here. Network itself is fine. It says fix, stop, and restart the stream in OBS. Yeah, I can't do that because I'm live streaming now. But yeah, anyway, so I'm keeping an eye on this. I want to know why my drop frames are continuing to increase because I can't stop the stream. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna continue to troubleshoot that in the background. Let me know if you guys see buffering. So the router ban is a real thing in the future. So here's what made it interesting. There was a video that was just released about this. Dude, somehow Netgear got like a complete like bypass on this and nobody knows how. That's the thing that kind of confuses me because I was like, oh my God, this is going to be terrible because like now what's going to happen if you need to buy like a router after like, I think like there's some date that this goes into effect and like after that it's going to be a problem. So they gave these companies like so many months or so many weeks to like go through the process they just created to like get approved for sale in the United States. And so far, Netgear is like the only one that's managed to do this, and it's like a mystery. Nobody knows how this happened. So I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what's. This is not. I like the idea of more security. I think this is absurd. So yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. All right, let's go through the news a little bit more here. Yeah. LibreOffice and the art of overreacting. Like, go ahead and like, dude, like that's the same article from before, but man, this is like past the popcorn. Like, I'm scared for what's going to happen in my next cloud, but like at the same time, like this is unbelievable. Going through here. So let's just take a look at some of these apps and updates, anything that jumps off. Komodo is another one of those Docker managers out there. I know a lot of people that like it. It's different from like Dockage, things like that. So if there's an option, so the thing in the chats, Combo said, "What's funny is Starlink can't sell due to their power adapters being made somewhere else." That's hilarious. The power adapter, what a freaking joke. So yeah, so that's the thing. So Komodo is another Docker container manager, Dockhand, Dockage, all these things. Portainer, it's in the same class as that. They upgraded here to do Docker Swarm support. So they're a really interesting way to manage Docker containers. Link Warden, if you use it, I use Vault Warden. Link Warden is the like relater, kind of like save all of your bookmarks version of that got an update. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, so to stop these frame drops, I'm gonna do something really quick here. I'm gonna drop the bandwidth, the bit rate. All right, so let me go ahead and drop the bit rate really fast. We're gonna see if that stabilizes it. So we'll see. I'm gonna see if I'm dropping frames. I'm still. Do I look? I'm not. It doesn't look like I'm dropping frames anymore. So I'm still working on it. Like, as you can see, guys, I'm still working through this. And again, just because I'm a YouTuber doesn't make me an expert in this. I'm literally figuring this out as we're on the call. So let's keep going. NetBird jumped up here, and then again, so there's two things that happened with NetBird that are really cool. Obviously, the reverse proxy came out. They also added layer 4 capabilities, and this was big, right? So I will tell you something I'm doing right now. Many of you guys know I do one-on-one time, so I sell my time. In the event you want to just do a live call with me and have me help you set something up, I do that. So you can go to the servers at home, and you'll see that in the Hire Me section, which I'm sure most of you guys know. But if you don't, I'm just going to show you the page real fast. When you go to servers at home, just go all the way to the right to Hire Me, and then click this little button, and it just basically is going to send me. It just sends an email to me, and we're going to have a conversation about hiring. So I'm doing this in a variety of ways right now. I'm self-hosting cal.com, which I'm going to get to later because there's some news with them as well. So yeah, that's a thing. So cal.com, I'm self-hosting, which connects to my Google Calendar, which connects to PayPal, which allows people to pay for everything safely. Because I don't handle payments. That's crazy dangerous. I let the professionals do that, like PayPal and like Stripe. So it connects to those things automatically. And then I have the daily.co, which is done video streaming, and I do RustDesk. RustDesk is the way that I control other people's computers from here. So if I need to like click or type something or help somebody walks through something and they're having a tough time, we just connect over RustDesk and I can just control their stuff. It's the same thing as TeamViewer. It's the same thing as taking control over somebody's like Teams meeting, but I hate Teams. I'm not a fan of Google Meet. I hate Zoom. So like this is the stack right now is working really well for the one-on-one sessions I'm doing. I've done a bunch so far. I really like it. But the challenge with that was I couldn't use a Cloudflare tunnel for RustDesk because RustDesk doesn't use HTTP or HTTPS traffic. It uses TCP UDP. So it was a huge deal that NetBird allowed this because now I'm like, oh man, in order to not expose my private IP address for RustDesk, well, my WAN address, I should say, for RustDesk, I can proxy it with NetBird because NetBird will let me do the TCP UDP proxying. So will Pangolin if I was running that without exposing anything. So I was like, this is great. So I was like, NetBird is, dude, I did a video on NetBird like way back when and did a blog post when I first figured them out, when I was first looking at the tail scale and I kind of liked NetBird a little bit more. I feel like that was 100% vindicated because I'm like, man, they just keep getting better and better. Like, in my opinion, they are one of the best networking companies out there that's like not Cloudflare right now. And because Cloudflare has a lot more limitations because there's a lot less opportunity for free, the NetBird right now is like my go-to recommendation. I cannot, they don't sponsor anything we do, by the way. This is just my personal recommendation just because I love them and I'm using them for so much. I find myself just migrating more and more things there. All right, let's keep going. Other updates. All right, so new software. And this is new software from the 27th, so it's kind of new. Anything you see with Claude or CloudBot or anything like that, or OpenCloud, do not use this stuff yet. This is still, when I, again, talking about AI and being dangerous and what's not dangerous, this is dangerous. They're probably actually going to get kicked off because the way they access Claude or some of the other things they do is against the Claude terms of service, so I'm surprised they're even still functioning. But yeah, that's a thing. All right, let's keep going. So there's some stuff in here like music. Dude, anytime anyone talks about music discovery in the media suites, like this media suite, which I'm not going to say out loud, like there's a list on Discord. If you go into the Discord channel for servers at home and you look at the suggestions, there's one in there called like music management, I think it is. Like this is where that's talked about. Do not ask me about music. I don't know anything. I'm just going to point you to that thing because that's like, there's guys on on Discord right now that are super into it. I just don't. I do TV, I do movies. I don't do books. I don't do music. So like I'm usually gonna have to I'm gonna have to refer you to somebody else in the community basically to do that, just because I'm not super into it and I don't want to talk like I know what I'm talking about when I don't. There's a lot of these out there too. The network scanning and infrastructure visualizations. There's a bunch of these. There's one above this too called Scanopy. Yeah. Oh, this is cool. I did a I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did. There's a Patreon video on this. So all the stuff that has to do with this, again, I'm highlighting it because I don't want to say it because YouTube is crazy. So anything that has to do with this stuff is going to be on my Patreon channel because YouTube has kicked me off before for talking about this. But I think I did a video on this on Patreon. So there's a few things out there that talk about how to replace Hunter. Hunter is one of those stories that we tell now about why you don't vibe code things. But there's a bunch of people that have popped up in the meantime that have been human coded, some human with assistance of AI, other things like that. And there have been replacements. This is one of the many replacements that I was evaluating. I've settled on one that I kind of like. Go ahead and check out the Patreon channel for that. Nothing else here really jumped out at me a whole lot from this, from the March. Content Spotlight is Kenio, stuff like the project management platform. That's pretty cool. And of course, we're going to get the shout out down here. So that was March 27th. Let's back up. Let's look at April 3rd now. April 3rd, moving forward again, this is talking more about the Nextcloud versus OnlyOffice thing, and there's just a lot more drama happening with that. So the reason that some stuff is going on, the ARM80 apps. So EuroOffice, the reason that a lot of the stuff got kicked up too is also the launch of EuroOffice. So if you don't know about this, I'm gonna do two things right now. I'm gonna show you guys something else that I really like. Again, you want to know what I do? Like I do the same thing you guys do. I just watch YouTube a whole lot. So is it this one? I thought it was the experience. Yeah, here it is. This is Nick. Nick is a French guy. He's amazing. I love his channel. He does a lot of Linux news. And of course, if you're using TrueNAS, you're probably on Linux. If you're on open source software, Linux is a huge part of that. I know a lot of you probably use that's dude, can we do a poll? I don't even know how to do that. How do I do a poll? I'd like to do a poll in the chat. Let me see here. Start a poll. Here we go. Do you use Windows as your daily driver? That's what I want to know. So I'm going to start this poll right now in the chat. I want to know, are you using Windows as your daily driver? So that's if you use, I'm on Fedora, and that's what I'm streaming from right now. It's really great. I can't recommend it enough. All right, here we go. So we're gonna let the chat do its thing. So anyway, he did a great piece on this because France is actually giving Microsoft the boot. I cannot tell you how angry I get when I work with other businesses, because I do consulting work on the side as well. And they're like in the Microsoft realm, and I'm like, well, this is why you pay me a lot of money, because Microsoft is awful. Their products are awful. Their management is awful, and it's wicked expensive. I cannot hate Microsoft with more in me than I already, like, I wish I could conjure up more hate than I could. I just don't like them. I do not like Microsoft. Google's slightly better, but of course you're not going to get a lot of privacy there, because like the reason you get what you get from Google is because they're just looking at everything you do. So Nick is actually living in France. He speaks a little bit of an accent, so you got to deal with that. But most of you guys are probably from Europe also anyway, so I'm sure you guys are totally fine with accents and other languages. I'm a stupid American. I speak like maybe 2 languages, like 3 loosely. Whereas in Europe, like everybody's like quadlingual fluently from the time they're born. So you guys are probably really good with accents and things like that. Anyway, my cat just came to join me. Hello, kitty. France is dumping Microsoft. So they're going to something called EuroOffice, which is a spin-off of, I think, either OpenOffice or LibreOffice. I think it's OpenOffice, and that's one of the things that started this whole fight between everybody. But they're like, no, we're not using Microsoft products anymore. We're going to Linux on every desktop, and we're using all open source software. So I'm like, man, that's fantastic. So Nick talks about that a lot when we go to his videos. Some of his latest Linux news is some of the stuff is cool too, like the most popular productivity apps. I really like his channel, dude. Nick does great stuff. Almost 500,000 subscribers, 1,400 videos. Dude's solid. I just love this channel, so definitely check this out. A lot of cool news here. It's one of the places that I get news from that I talk to you guys about. So EuroOffice is again the spin out of this, and this is what France is going to. This is going to be what Europe starts to transfer to instead of using Google Docs or Microsoft Office. So like, I cannot tell you how happy it makes me to see whole governments and whole sections of the world dumping Microsoft and closed source software in favor of open source stuff. Like, that makes my heart so happy. Like, so happy. So yeah, I'm really, really happy. I think that's great. So that's the EuroOffice stuff. You can go ahead and say, definitely take your time and read all about this fight that's going on. It is so good. It's like the best of, like, if you're a nerd like me, this is like, I want to sit on the couch with popcorn and just like, let's go. I'm that meme of the guy. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's fine. So there's all kinds of, the nice thing about Ethan here is he's going to link you guys to all the relevant news stories. So just jump on the April 3rd newsletter and just start clicking these links and reading. You're going to love it. You're going to absolutely love it. So there's a lot going on there. You can see it just keeps on going. This is the April Fool's one, so there's a bunch of stuff going on there. So let's go ahead and jump right into the newswire. Raspberry Pis are getting out of control. If you don't know that yet, if you're not aware of the pricing thing going on, Raspberry Pis, everything that uses memory chips, which is like almost all electronics all the time, are just expensive. Like, AI is sucking up all the RAM chips, all the hard drives. Like, it's just a robot that is just inhaling everything that I need to buy. If your RAM goes bad right now, like, my hat is off to you. I'm so sorry, because like, I'm like, right now everybody's just holding. I'm just sitting here praying every day, please nothing break, because I can't afford to replace anything right now. Everything is so expensive, it's ridiculous. Just gonna poke Claude in the background to make sure everything is good. I don't see anything else in my element room in my matrix server, so it looks like this dude has given up, which is fantastic. I'm really happy my bot has actually done a pretty good job. It looks good, so I'm gonna leave that there. We're good. The live stream also looks like it. Yeah, dude, who just said Jay Priller, the irony of EuroOffice being on GitHub. Dude, GitHub, in case that's this, I'll tell you why it's funny if you don't get the joke. It's funny because GitHub used to be the place that everybody dumped their open source software, and GitHub itself was open source, and then it got bought up by Microsoft. So now GitHub is Microsoft. So I'm like, yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. I just really, so that's why everybody's going to like GitLab and like GitDoc. There's a bunch of other things that like can do what GitHub does. It's not the only thing that does it. It's just the most popular because it was here first. But yeah, it's a thing. Dude, YouTube is still telling me this is poor connection. This is going to drive me crazy. I'm going to come back after the stream and like completely decompose what is happening here, because I went through a lot of work getting all this UniFi gear here, so like this is like not a problem anymore, and like it's still a problem, I think. So I got other things going on in the background here. Just watch the stream for me. So all right, yeah, Raspberry Pis are expensive. More your office stuff, only office stuff. This is just something else, man. Like this is so crazy. Let's look at the software updates here. Anything that's jumping off the page to me. And guys, if you see something, man, just please let me know. I'm keeping an eye on the chat out of like my other eye. I've got 3 monitors in front of me. I've got a lot of stuff open right now. So when you're chatting, I can see it. I usually stop. I'm going to try and stop every few minutes and just address the chat. But if something jumps off the page at you, definitely just let me know. Jellyfin. So we did this. We talked about a lot of the, one of the most famous, dude, you want to know what's crazy? Do you want to know what's nuts? Is like, I'm going to show you guys a pattern of what YouTube lights. JPon asks, am I using the GPON bypass as well? I don't know what that is. I'm not totally positive what that is. So let's look at the channel for a second. No, not that. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of craziness. So let me show popular. Okay. So when you look at the popular apps, the popular videos I've done, as you've noticed, Jellyfin is like massive. So the most popular video I've ever done is 10 months ago on the best Jellyfin plugins to supercharge your media server, 100,000 views-ish. Then the first ever time that I did like a best of like Docker apps, this was like, I just had the idea to do it and I just collected a bunch of apps that I use every day. That also did really well. But after that, it's like Jellyfin, more best apps, Jellyfin, best apps, media stack. Like, so there's a lot of things. And then like, of course, this is when image starts coming in. So yeah, if in case you don't want to know what people want to see from my channel, it's basically just best Docker apps and Jellyfin. That's like 100% what's going on. So yeah, I'm interested. So now that I'm telling you that because I want to show you like when Jellyfin comes out, this is one of the things we covered in that video. And there's a bunch of other people that in the Jellyfin video for those plugins that I talked about, this video here, the best Jellyfin plug, a lot of people reached out in the comments and were like, oh, what about this? What about that? And like, this is one of the ones that were either covered or mentioned in the comments for just being really good. So I have to keep an eye on this stuff now because anytime I mention the word Jellyfin, people just flock. I'm like, it's incredible. It's a ridiculous response. It's like when I shake the food bag in front of my cats, they just immediately start drooling. It's Pavlovian. So JPro says bypasses the ISP modem and the SFP module. It goes right into the UDM Pro. Removes the ISP router. Yeah, so long story short, I showed you guys the picture of my rack before. The ISP router is now gone. I'm going to show you guys an updated picture eventually when I get everything, all those new like patch panels and stuff in and see how much cleaner it is so you guys can be like, ooh, the ISP router is completely disconnected. Right now, the ONT box, which terminates the fiber, that box is basically an input, which is a fiber input, and then an output, which is a regular Cat5 RJ45 Ethernet. That goes directly into my Cloud Gateway Ultra. There is no ISP anything here anymore. I have to obviously have the ONT box because that's what actually translates the signal for me. Without that, I wouldn't be able to get internet. But there's no ISP equipment other than that in my entire network stack. So right now, the UniFi is talking directly to the ONT, which is talking directly to Verizon Fios, and that's as good as I can get it right now. So if you guys know a tweak on the UDM, not the UDM, on the Cloud Gateway Ultra that I should make, like please let me know in the chat. I've definitely talked to a bunch of AI about this and all kinds of other stuff, and I've not been able to find what was going on. Here's the other crazy part. Before I jumped on this live stream, I had set up private live streams and just let them run for like 3+ hours, and then just had a monitoring script up in the background, just looking for drops, and nothing happened. So I'm like, man, I tested this so much and to make sure that we weren't going to have problems. And I live streamed for hours on end, and I was like, oh, it looks perfect. It's going to be great. And of course, as soon as I start live streaming, I'm like, what's the problem right now? The WAS-110 bypasses the ONT box. Tell me all about that. I have hold the phone. We're gonna WAS-110. Dude, if this is a real thing, we're gonna have a conversation. All right, so I'm not seeing anything like. Hold on. If anyone knows what's going on here with this, I want to know about it. Because if I can bypass ONT, that'd be interesting. Oh, look at that. How do I get one of these? This is how do I do this? I will have Verizon come out here and like rip this thing to shreds if I can figure out how to use UniFi gear to terminate my fiber and just turn it directly into either SFP plus or RJ45. That would be amazing. So yeah, dude, Jay Perler, like keep talking, keep doing your thing. I want to come back to that. All right, let's come back to the news. I'm going to come back and just continue to just derail this conversation every single time that dude talks. All right, new software. Let's come down here. I remember I had some picked out. I just wanted to like look at before, and I'm not going to look at my notes right now. This was something I wanted to look at. I started doing a video on it and stopped because basically it's like a sear replacement or a jelly sear or Omvi, or there's a bunch of other things. It's basically the same thing. When I started playing with it, I'm like, this isn't better. It's not worse, but if you're using sear, I'm like, I like the opportunity for more options here. The cool thing about this is it has support tickets, so like your users can like file a support ticket instead of sending you a text message, I guess. So there's some cool stuff in here, but yeah. Ranger is also something I looked at, possibly doing a video on. I decided against it for right now because it's, again, people are building this functionality. I want to ask them like, what is that solving for? Like, what's going on with that? So I was kind of interested in that, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to keep an eye on things like this. That's why I'm here. WireGuard management. So this is another one too. So I just did a video on WG Easy because WG Easy did a big update. And now WireGUI's out there. Did I see any pictures? No, come on. If you're going to tell me you made a GUI for WireGuard and then don't show me what it looks like that's not going to work. that's not how this works. So yeah, anyway. That's just anyone out there, by the way, if you're thinking about putting something up on GitHub, always just post screenshots because everybody just wants to see what it looks like. This is interesting. So Ethan highlighted this thing called Domain Locker. Domain Locker, it basically just takes a look at all the domains you own and just makes sure that you're not going to go out of date. Like I think it does certificates and it does purchases. Yeah, own domains, auto fetch metadata. That was actually really interesting. I saw that, it kind of jumped out. I mean, I do everything through Cloudflare, and of course they email me. So if anything's getting ready to renew, I get an email. If anything goes out of date, and of course my certs never expire. Cloudflare handles all that. That's one of the cool things about Cloudflare, why I like them. NPM also does the same thing. Nginx Proxy Manager. They have certbot running in the background on that container, so my certs never expire. I never have to worry about that kind of stuff. So because Cloudflare is my domain registrar, and because they do a lot of my proxying, this doesn't have a huge pull to me. But some people are like, you know what? I don't like Cloudflare, and I might need this. So yeah, really cool. Let's jump to the 10th and move forward. We check the chat real fast. All right, so it says, I have a GPON stick in my UDM SC to dump the AT&T box. It was nice. WAS 110, if you were on XP, it's supposed to be nice to set up with some community firmware. Guys, keep talking. pond.wiki. I don't know what this stuff is, .wiki. Let me take a look here. Oh, interesting. I hope this doesn't get me in trouble. Let me open this up. So this is what somebody just posted in the chat. Yeah. So this is interesting. Let me see if BIOS is even on here. See, obviously AT&T, Frontier, and Sonic. So right now with Verizon BIOS, I'm not seeing that listed for America, which is a shame because this looks really cool. Like this is exactly what I would want to try to like work with, but I don't see it's going to be compatible with what I'm doing. Okay, so just, yeah. Okay, maybe. All right, let's get to, what is this? This is the 10th of April, so we're getting close now. Weekly highlights, again, more Euro, again, every single week, Euro Office, only Office. This stuff is like, this is the drama that just keeps on giving. It's just amazing. So this is the nutshell of where it is as of the 10th, and I'm going to jump into the 17th, so I'm not going to read that, but this is nice little running summaries and commentaries that Ethan's been giving us. So Collabora isn't happy now as Lance plans to create a lighter alternative with its own code base, while LibreOffice is standing firm in their decision. This is just, oh my god. This whole thing. Let's get to some other news here. Hold on, let me close this so I can see the chat again. I have a Discord too. Interesting. Okay, we keep looking at it. So another news, the Image team has announced they're developing a managed backup service with end-to-end encryption and looking for feedback. That's really cool. I use Image and I'm pretty into it, and the fact that backup is definitely a thing. I use TrueNAS for my backup, so I'm actually backing up the whole data set with the database on it and all the pictures separately. So I don't necessarily need a separate tool for that, but it'd be nice because maybe it's better than what I'm using. It's like, this looks really good. But yeah, so I'm going to come back in here and look at that. I'm also updating my image video. You guys should look for that in the next few weeks. It'll be coming out on YouTube, because the number one request I have that people ask me is, hey, how do I put like image itself on my SSDs, but then put all my pictures on like my big hard drive? That is the number one question I get. So I made a whole video just answering that question. So that's coming out soon. So if you're one of those people that's thinking about that, go ahead and check that out. That'll be released in a few weeks. Tailscale updated their pricing plans to make monthly bills more predictable. Anytime Tailscale is in the news, I obviously pay attention to it. Even though I'm using NetBird, like, this is the 800-pound elephant in the room. All right, let's come down here. This is the thing on Mythos, talking about the OpenBSD vulnerability. I think this is the OpenBSD one. The other one was, so there's two big ones. One was OpenBSD. The other was an FFmpeg, which was like, if you don't know about FFmpeg, if you watch a video on the internet, you probably use FFmpeg. FFmpeg is used for video almost all over the place. So the fact that there was a major like flaw in FFmpeg was a massive problem. Like, that's something that needs to be patched right now. Like right now. Yeah, so Opus 4.6 is the model I was using. They just released Opus 4.7. That's what I'm on right now. Yeah, getting dangerous out there. The AIs are getting ready to take over and just nuke us all until we need John Connor to come save our life. I'm not even saying that. I'm not sure if I could say that on YouTube, but I probably should. I have to watch what I say sometimes on YouTube because they'll flag you for the dumbest stuff. All right, software updates. Let's come in here. Arcane. Arcane's another really cool like dockage, Portainer, Dockhand alternative. So they are also now doing Docker Swarm, ECR registry, per container redeploy. A lot of cool stuff here. There's a lot of different ways to manage your Docker containers. This is a good one. If you don't use Baserow is also really cool. This is a no-code, low-code way to access your databases. So instead of going through a usual database screen or just writing SQL statements, this gives you kind of like a Microsoft Access view, but it's actually your database, which is really cool. Baserow is one of those like productivity apps if you're in the enterprise kind of world a little bit, that is just like, oh my God, I can't believe nobody, like, this has been here the whole time and I've never known about it. I just really like it. If you're dealing with databases or people that aren't good with databases or just want to use a GUI for a database instead of an SQL statement, that's the guy right here. Image 2.7 came out. In case you don't know about Image, by the way, they've reached their stable in like 2.0 or 2.5, whatever it was, it's stable now, so there's no more breaking changes. But new actions, there is remove from album, move to locked folder, edit keyboard shortcuts, create new faces on the fly, dedupe improvements, and now CSP support. So really good. And image power tools also got a little bump if you're using those as a bolt-on. Pangolin updated, multiple roles per user, site provision keys, log streaming, and some more identity providers. QU, big one. Automation upgrades, more reliable cross-seeds during state changes, improved directory. If you're not using QU, you should be. I definitely moved completely over there. I got rid of cleanup, or I got rid of a bunch of other containers I was running in my media stack because Q is starting to just do more and more. It's becoming more and more functional, and I'm like, this is great. I hope it does everything. This is great. If you haven't done that, check out our video on QU. It's on Patreon. I think it might be on YouTube either. It might be in both. The wiki page is up. I just updated the wiki page to be more accurate with the new cross-seed stuff that they've done. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. All right, so let's look at the new software here. Again, Jellyfin. Every time Jellyfin comes up, I have to say it because if I don't, like, I just lose views. People just start unsubscribing if I don't talk about Jellyfin. Complete customers. I looked at this and actually wasn't even that thrilled with it, but it was still, it's about that. More ebook and audiobook stuff. More music stuff. Again, jump on Discord and talk about that with the guys that are doing it. I'm not doing it, but there's people on the Discord server that are. So if you want to be one of those guys, definitely have that. Oh, okay. So he said, so JPro said, look for the manufacturer and model number and then search the website. The stick masquerades as the ONT. Okay, I'm going to have to I'm going to put the pond.wiki on my browser. I'm going to come back to it because as soon as this live stream's over, I'm going outside to go actually check into that because I want to. If I could replace my ONT, and that would make my life probably better, probably much better. Okay, let's come back to. I'm gonna double check Sable again. Nobody's tried to jump on my Matrix server in a while, so I think we're good. All right, let's jump back in here. Rewind. Spotify rap style experience for Navidrome. That's pretty cool. Time slot, yet another R clone dashboard, hilarious. And project updates. Yeah, nothing, like, it's been a kind of quiet month for some things. Meet ChibiSafe, a self-hosted file uploading and sharing platform. With ChibiSafe, users can easily upload and share a number of files and formats with others from the comfort of a gorgeous web interface that supports S3, some other backends, deployed via Docker. I mean, it is a nice interface. Is this trying to be like an OpenCloud, NextCloud replacement? Uploads albums, tags. I think it's just, is it just photos? It says file uploading and sharing platform. Okay, so that might be something I have to come back over here real fast. Pretty easy Docker compose. It's got safe, the server, and caddy, which yeah, anyway. It's still, I'm glad he said that, because that's the first thing I would have ripped out. If you use npm or caddy in your host system, you still have to have caddy inside the compose file. Do not change that. And here's the caddy file. This is why it drives me crazy. Just let me use my own reverse proxy. I don't want to do all this. But yeah, it's fine. Like, this might be interesting. But this whole thing could be so simple if it just stopped right here for the Docker compose file. Just like, that's it. Storage. It's got some cool stuff. I'll have to come back and look at that later when I got some time. More videos and podcasts. DB Tech did something on your office. DB Tech is back online. He's a cool guy. I talked to him on Discord a little bit. He had stopped making videos for a little bit, not a little bit, but he was just kind of back down. Now he's kind of back in full swing, doing a lot better. So really happy to see that, DB. I'm glad you're doing well. The Search NG video that I did is posted on there. Did actually not do as well. I thought it was going to do a lot better, because I wanted to talk more about privacy. I'm thinking about doing more stuff that's privacy based. Yeah. So this is my first kind of stab at that, and it didn't actually do that well. So I'm like, maybe people just want to talk more about image and Jellyfin. Maybe privacy is not anything crazy. But yeah. So let's go into this week's. This is this morning's. Google. So again, we're talking about privacy. I did a video on Google, and it did pretty well. Definitely got the conversation going. They are now pretty much going to deprecate themselves. They can't keep bypassing Google the way they have. Their methodology is not going to work anymore, so they're going to sunset and probably archive. So that Search NG video I made is actually going to look really good in another week or two, or whenever it is that they actually do this. All right, actual news. So this is the cal.com news that I was talking about. This is just so disappointing. I actually like cal.com. People are like, oh, this is like bloated, like use Calendly. There's a bunch of other things that do this. Yeah, there are. Like, there's some other options, but I got this up and going, and I really think it's actually kind of smooth. So anyone that tries to book time with me, if you're going to be using cal.com, the interface, it's kind of cool. I like it. When I put it up, I was like, this works. This just works really well. So the fact that they're going closed source is annoying. So the main part of the platform, they're taking closed source, and it's going to be renamed cal.DIY. So let me look at the wiki. So I already updated the wiki for this. Let's look up cal.DIY. It was formerly Calcom. So they're going to change the image to, like, where is it? This. Calcom cal.diy, which is fine. So if you don't know this about cal.com, even though it's open source, there is like a paywall for some features. They basically said, hey, everything that's paywalled, we're just going to rip out of cal.diy, and we're just going to open up cal.diy completely. And all the paid stuff is going to be something different. It's going to be closed source. So if you were using or wanted to use the enterprise features of cal.com, that part has become closed source. But the part that I use, which is the scheduler, remains open source on cal.diy. And unfortunately, that team is probably not going to maintain it much longer. So I'm hoping the community is going to come in here and do that, because I kid you not, if I have to rip this part of the stack out and I replace it with something else, I'm going to cry. It took me forever to get this up and running really, really well, and it was just not easy to do. And I don't want to have to go do this again. So my hope is that this is going to be stable for a little while. Cloudflare Mesh came out here. I did some deep dive into this, because anytime someone changes the way that the infrastructure of networking works, I'm like really interested in it. Cloudflare Mesh is going to be like their new name for like Warp and that whole like thing. It's not the same as like the mesh networking that you get through like NetBird, where it's like directly peer-to-peer. Like there's a control plane that like can, or Tailscale, for example, too. There's like a control plane that like connects two servers, and once they're talking, they just talk directly and they bypass everything else. They create a private WireGuard tunnel. That's not this. All this stuff is going to be edge routed through Cloudflare, and their edge routing is super fast, but they're going to continue to remain a middleman. So for that reason, I'm probably for that reason, it's a no for me, dog. Like I'm not going to use this because I have something that already does it pretty well. But this is interesting for someone that's not using Tailscale or NetBird. It definitely is. I see what they're going for. When I did, because I use tunnels for reverse proxying, and that's not what this is for. This is more for like creating a VPC, like its own virtual private cloud. And again, I think Tailscale and NetBird do that better in some ways. So that's why I'm not super hyped about this, but this actually is going to have a really good use for some people. Some people out there are definitely going to actually really need this. So I think it's really cool they're doing it. And I love Cloudflare. I have nothing but good things to say about them. Again, this is about Google. Go ahead and saying they're going to drop its final release. They're done. DB's video unpublished on supply chain attacks. This is, again, it's a real thing. Dude, the Allbirds thing was hilarious. In case you don't know about Allbirds used to make like these like really sustainable shoes. They used to make like really, really interesting shoes that were like sewn and like didn't have a whole lot of wasted materials and were like eco-safe and friendly and like sustainably made. Then they decided they wanted to become an AI company. Their stock went through the roof and then plummeted like a rock that fell from a plane. Like it's just, oh my God, a GPU as a service, which I guess is now GAA gas. That sounds bad. All right, so yeah, they did that and then it just went down. Oh my God, can I even do that? Let me look at Allbirds stock ticker. Let me see if I can show you guys like the reactivity. Yep. So it's still kind of high, I guess, but it definitely peaked and then came crashing down. This is better than I thought it was. I didn't think that it was even that good. I thought it was worse. Hold on. Yes, I mean, for the month they're up to, they're still up. They're still up bad, but like in the last day, yeah, it's a 6 months, 61%. So they're coming around. So the 1 year. Yeah, but anyway, they literally like, we're gonna go from shoes to GPUs as a service. So really just like, what are you doing with your life? Anyway, this blew me away. Unraid and 45 tribes are now building a joint server. This is it. Beautiful. Don't get me wrong. $3,000. And here's the crazy part. Even though this is beautiful, it's based on what looks like an HL15 2.0, the basic server that they make for home labbers. 15 bays, ECC memory, 10 gigabit Ethernet. They're gonna put Unraid on there for you out of the you pay per step. That's hilarious. AI Jay Perler in the chat said AI shoes you pay per step. Yeah, 100% on that one. So anyway, they put Unraid on this as stock. I want to show you guys why. Like here's the deal. One, I'm not a huge fan of Unraid. Just openly. I like TrueNAS more for what it does. Two, even though I love 45 drives, their stuff is pricey. It's not cheap for what they're doing, but I love what they're doing. I love them as a company. If they want to sponsor me, I am all about it. But yeah, no, I definitely can't afford, like even this case, right? Just this HL15 2.0 case is like $800 by itself, like empty, just empty metal. And I'm like, I can't do that. Hats off to you if you can. So here's why I'm mad about this. Hold on, where is it? I guess we'll just use this table. So this is what's in it. It's an i7 14700, some nice fans. What is it? Some like Assassin, this basic air cooler, a 10 gig NIC, an LSI controller, 1,000 watt power supply by Corsair, good job. 16 gigs of memory, joke, and a 1 terabyte boot drive. Which again, if you're on Unraid, that's cool, but TrueNAS obviously can't use that. But yeah, no, like so. Long story short, these are not expensive. This is ECC memory, so I guess this is probably kind of crazy now. I bet you this is kind of expensive. But no, it's DDR4. It's not even DDR5. I take that back. You could probably build this for like $1,500. Now, of course, you can't build it for $1,500 in this case because this case alone is $800. But like a case like this, not this nice, but like this and all of these parts, oh my God, yeah, maybe like $1,500 to $2,000. And I'm ballparking that. If I got on like PC Part Picker, I'm not going to do that to you guys right now, but like, yeah, in case you don't know about this site, by the way, PCPartPicker.com. This is how you build stuff and figure out how cheap it is. It's called PCPartPicker.com. It's just gonna let you choose all this stuff, so I can just type in like CPU and then up here I'm gonna type in like 14 700. And like this is what the Intel 14700 is going for. It's like 350 right now. So when I click add, it'll only let me choose motherboards that are compatible with that, for example. So like if I went over to like the Unraid thing, what's the MOBO? Did they even list it? I don't even think they listed the motherboard. That's the worst part. Whatever. Let's pretend it's like anything. I don't know. The MSI, sure, we'll go with you. And I want to see what memory looks like right now because memory is the hard one. This is all DDR5, so I even have to go back now and like go back to my build and X this out. And go. I'm gonna find a DDR4 motherboard. So let's see here. So like on the left side, I only want DDR4, for example. There we go. So now I can like pick memory and just see how ugly this is. So this is gonna go with this. I want to go the full size ATX. Can I do that? There we go. This guy. Now I'm gonna go with memory. This is the last step I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna get back to the news. They have 16 gigs. So right here, like this Corsair Vengeance, right? 219. Yeah. So this is. So let me use only ECC. See, I should have done a motherboard that's ECC. That's the problem. Now it's ECC memory. I want to like. I just want to embarrass these people. Hold on a second. I want an ATX motherboard. I want DDR4. I don't know if I could filter by ECC. Yep, there we go. None of them do. That's the problem. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can. They don't even. That sucks. Anyway, this is all that to say. This is completely overpriced, and I'm mad about that because I really like 45 drives and I want people to buy this thing. But like you're killing people. And here's the crazy part. They're like, oh man, we're gonna try and in this thing. They're gonna say this is the expected base price. We're making every effort to hold this price point. They're acting like this is a hard price point to hold, and I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, so looking in the chat, Chrissy said, I just built mine in a Jonesbo N6 and all of those specs and $1,500. Yeah, 10 gig plus ECC. Yeah, I'm challenged with that. I'm just challenged. Oh my God. All right. So let's go to the news. Yeah, so this is about the cloud. The first one is the Cloudflare thing, Cloudflare Mesh. They're marketing it as secure private networking for everyone. It's good marketing. I'll give it to them. Linux kernel 7.0 is out there. I have to look into the big changes. So Phoronix is one of the best places to go for this. They have great reporting on Linux kernel and just Linux in general. There is some big life improvements here, I think. I have to go through these more in depth to see what's going on because using Linux as my daily driver. Let's look at our poll, by the way. Yes, 86% of people say you use use Windows as your daily driver. 86% of you guys use Windows as your daily driver. I want to see that number change. I want you guys to be like France. Go ahead and see what you got to play. You got to play with Linux and see what the only people that should be on Microsoft products like full time are probably people that can't get away from like Microsoft Office, like even using like LibreOffice. So I use LibreOffice and it's compatible with all the Microsoft Office stuff. Sometimes it doesn't render just the exact same for certain things, but for like 99% of things, it's like the exact same. But for some people, some people just need Microsoft for some things or Microsoft products. If I get it, if that's you, I get it. I really don't. But like gaming, that's not an excuse anymore. Gaming is arguably better on Linux than it is on Windows, which I can't. I'm so happy to hear myself say that out loud. The day is Friday, April 17th of 2026, and today and maybe a few months earlier, gaming on Linux is basically better than Microsoft. So hallelujah. But yeah, if you can't get off Microsoft for some reason, like I get that. But if you don't need like the hard, like, oh, this is the reason I can't switch. Yeah, so I see like Jay Pro says, I don't speak Linux very well, too much sudo and yum for me. Dude, I am on Fedora, and I'm telling you, I use the command line once or twice a year. Fedora looks like Mac. It looks like Apple. It's kind of laid out like that. If you want something that looks like Windows, kind of go towards like Linux Mint. Also very cool. But Fedora looks like Mac, and I never use the command line. Like literally not ever. And now, like I showed you guys, I'm getting more into AI. I run Claude Code in my Fedora, and I just watch the permissions. I don't let it just do anything. I just keep an eye on it. But sometimes when I have to do more complex stuff, I just make Claude do it now. I've gotten so lazy because of Claude Code. Now I'm glad that I learned how to do the stuff by hand before AI became a thing. But now I'm like, oh my God, like if you really are like, for people, this is where AI really shines. If you're switching from one thing to another and you're a tech-minded person, like that's something that can help you, because it'll not only just do it for you, you can be like, hey, tell me, you can have it teach you about why it's doing what it's doing. So it's great. Anyway. Yeah, see now I started the whole thread, and now I see people talking about gaming and what's bad. Yeah, I started the hornet's nest. I'm sorry about that, guys. Just I don't game, so I really have no business saying that. But like I'm watching the news about gaming on Linux, like the Steam OS and like the Steam Deck and things like that. And I'm like, all right, I see things going on here. I see things happening. Yeah, dude, the FCC just saved the net for this is unbelievable. Again, just saved Netgear from its own router ban for no obvious reason. Nobody, yeah. Like this is it right here. Make it make sense. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right, so let's look at software, and we're gonna call it for the day here. Borg backup. There's a Borg UI hit 2.0. Dude, I don't use Borg backup, but so many people do, and like this is like apparently the greatest thing since sliced bread for them. It's a great like look at this dashboard. This is really cool. Like I think this is a really great piece right here. I just don't use Borg backup because I'm using TrueNAS and all of its TrueNAS's built-in features for this. So I'm kind of surprised like this is a thing, but yeah, I'm not surprised it's a thing. If you're not using TrueNAS, like this is probably the solution I'd be on. So this is kind of amazing. They just hit their 2.0. Their 2.0 is responsive UI for mobile browsing, role-based access control, a new dashboard, theme switching, and optimized code base. So yeah, Borg backup is like a real thing for people that use it. Because I'm on TrueNAS so much, I just use the TrueNAS built-in tools. But this would if TrueNAS wasn't real, like this is what I'd be on. Like this is all I'd be talking about. All right, let's keep going. I saw something on here, Grafana. For those people using Grafana, I just can't. It's a lot of complexity for that. But like the Grafana and Prometheus stack is such a tried and true thing for so many people. So many people build amazing dashboards on Grafana. I'm not one of those guys, but like for those guys that are, like my hat is off to you because it's really cool. And I've seen some people make some really beautiful things. But some new updates came out on the 13.0. So if you're one of those guys, there it is. I am one of the guys who uses Mealy. I use Mealy a lot. It's a self-hosted cookbook. My wife and I use it all the time. She's constantly uploading resumes, and I'm constantly cooking them for her, so that's why my marriage works. We use Mealy, and that's how we mediate that, and it's really cool. I kind of like it. She's not a tech person at all, and she loves it. So that's like my wife's stamp of approval is like the ultimate. Like if she can do it, like there's no excuse for anyone that's watching this live stream. It's really cool. Umami is up here too. They just went to 3.1. I was a huge proponent of Umami for so long. And with one of the later releases that came out, it started just getting really glitchy with me. And I was like, I got to look for something else. And I moved to Ribbit. So Ribbit is RYBBIT. You'll see it on the wiki. It's really beautiful. It does a lot of cool things. It's the same thing as Umami. It just uses a script in the header of your HTML code to send analytics back to the platform. Completely private, completely self-hosted. And it's what I'm using to track analytics for like servers at home and like the blog and the wiki and all those things. So I'm not selling your data. It's not going anywhere. There is no one else seeing that. It's only for me. I check it maybe once every few weeks or so just to see what traffic looks like. And I just like it a lot. I think I've done a video on Ribbit, but if not, I should probably do one. Let me write that down just in case I haven't. But I love it. All right, new software. The pterodactyl panel, it got rewritten in Rust. It's called Calligopus, something like that. So yeah, so I have to do another video on. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that wasn't that kind of animal. I have to do another video on. Wow, good job. On how to do pterodactyl, because pterodactyl was working before for the old Nginx LXC style, and that's about to change in TrueNAS 26 beta, which has been released. And it's still a little buggy, but it's out there. Now I can start playing with TrueNAS 26 beta 1 and start getting the new script up to date. So for everyone, when it comes time for containers to become non-experimental in September, I'll probably have that script ready to go. Yeah, more stuff I can't talk about, but pay attention to the Patreon channel. I may do something on this. Come down here. Anything else that jumps out at me? Reclaimer. So I just did a video on this, I believe. I just did on Patreon. That's gonna be the next video that comes out for Patreon, because I did a video on something called, what was it? Oh, it starts with a C and I forget. But long story short, it just automatically cleans up your media that you're not watching. Capacitor. It's called Capacitor. So it cleans up your media that you're not watching. Reclaimer does the same thing, so they're kind of competing against each other, which I love because that usually forces innovation. So I've done a video on both of those now. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, you're going to see that come up in the next couple weeks. Yeah, and cal.com with the cal.DIY. We talked about that. So yeah, that's it right there. That's going to do it for this podcast, at least for going over the news. On the videos, they hyped my OpenCloud video. Thank you so much, Ethan, for including me there. Christian just did one on NetBird. I watched it just because it was pretty good. I like Christian a lot. He's another one of those YouTubers I watched in the beginning. Really cool. Techno Tim's talking about backups. If you didn't catch the last TrueNAS Tech Talk video I think I did, it was all about backups and the new way they're doing what's called like 32110 or something like that. It's not 321 anymore. It's like 32110. And Chris talk all about that. I talk all about that. I thought it was really cool. But yeah, that's going to do it for the news. So thank you guys so much for joining me on the live stream. Had a lot of fun. I'm probably going to keep doing this about once a month or so. That's kind of feels like a good kind of pace for this. In the meantime, definitely watch for the TrueNAS news videos that I post, because I'm going to start, like, the stuff that I would usually say here, I break into smaller chunks and kind of put them on the TrueNAS podcast videos that I do. So if you're looking for more of this, definitely watch those videos. You're going to get a lot more of me talking in that and less of me just reading like bullet point news. So I'm trying to make those a little bit more dynamic to make them just better, just in general, so it's not so boring. Anyway, so thank you guys so much, man. I'm really glad you were here for me for this journey. Thank you so much for listening to my stories about all the ridiculous stuff that happens to me here. Like I said, if you're interested in that Gateway Light and you're thinking about, hey, I want to try UniFi, and you want one for $50 plus shipping, go ahead and hit me up on Discord, DM me, and I'll ship it to you. And we'll do like Venmo or something like that, and we'll be cool about it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm sorry for everybody that had to deal with the buffering thing. I'm looking into that. I think we're good now. We haven't had a problem since I've turned the bitrate down a little bit in OBS, so maybe I'll just leave it there. But I'm going to debug that later. Thank you guys so much. Pleasure doing this. Thank you for supporting the channel. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're not a Patreon subscriber, take a look at that. I'm going to look into giving away some Patreon soon, because what I can do is I can gift like 1 month, 3 months at a time. So I'm going to figure out a way to like do some cool stuff where I can start gifting people Patreon. But yeah, that's something that I'm really interested in. But yeah, so I'm going to keep working. I got more videos coming out on really fun stuff. Keep hitting the suggestions in Discord, man. I'm looking at the suggestions really closely. That's why OpenCloud got a video, which is doing really well. So if you want to see something, make sure to jump on Discord and make a suggestion. So that's it for now, everybody.